My car is too old to have satellite radio, but
So am I.
but I saw it as something that was inevitable. And now we have, it's 2010, we have the internet, and just like with satellite radio, on the internet you have Pandora and all these other services where you have whatever you want streamed right to your computer, literally from anywhere in the world. And with some of the services, you basically customize your own station.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, instead of radios, they carry around their iPods. They download their own music, and maybe that's a response. And I'm getting back to what I was saying earlier, getting back to the fact that radio doesn't serve their needs. If there was personality on the radio, if there was localism, people wouldn't have to look somewhere else.
Ooh, what a statement.
Well, there is no, well, I can't say there is no more, but there is a diminishing personal relationship with radio, because radio is becoming more and more of either a talk show or a jukebox. And if you don't agree with the point of view of the talk show host, they're narrowcasting, and nobody is loyal to jukeboxes, because if you don't like the song, you hit the button and go to the next jukebox until you find something that you want to listen to. So I think maybe broadcasting is losing the personal touch that it had some time ago.
Yes, you.
Frank, can you fill us in on Skinny Kenny? He came from Los Angeles, as far as I know.
He was born in eastern Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And his background is that he was half of a comedy duo, Wreath and King, I believe it was. And he was a nightclub comic. This is back in the era when we had the Holiday House and the Twin Coaches, the circuit. And I believe he initially came to Pittsburgh to program Zoom, WZUM, when they first came on the air. And he was then hired for Whammo, and ended up programming not just Whammo, but the other stations owned by what became Dynamic Broadcasting, which was Whammo, Wuffo, Woe, and Wild. Wuffo in Buffalo, Wild in Boston, and Woe, which was a country station in Miami. And the three northern stations were the same format, soul. And when Brother Love came into being, Kenny considered, not syndicating, but taping the show in Pittsburgh and having it played back on the other stations. Being that that's about the time I went Army, I don't think it ever came into being because he just didn't have all the personnel in place. And I lost track of Kenny for about 30 years.
Okay, you remember the one fellow went with RCA Records?
Would that be Ray?
Yeah.
Ray Anderson.
They were geniuses.
They really were.
Right.
But with Kenny, he ended up going from soul to country, which could be how he got to know Ed. He and one of the folks at Whammo bought a station in, I believe it was Pomona, California. And I believe Clark Race moved out there to work with him. At some point, Clark worked with Kenny. But like I said, I lost track of him for something like 30 years. And then something called the internet came along. And then something called a bulletin board that I'm sure a lot of you frequent, called Pittsburgh Radio and TV Nostalgia. And there's a post from Ken Wreath. And I reestablished contact with him in 2004, 2005, the last time we had a big flood. Because I remember sending a picture of the flooded point to him And he just went nuts because he really hadn't seen a new picture of Pittsburgh for a long time. And there's this picture of Pittsburgh underwater. And he never let on that he was ill. And you know, I was as shocked as anyone else when you know, I got the call from his wife.
Any other
Okay,
questions?
thank you.
Any other questions from out here? I was really glad to have the opportunity to do this book with Arcadia Publishing. It was a great opportunity for me to pay my respects to these folks that I admire so much, and as well as other Pittsburgh area broadcasters, and do a little something to make sure that the broadcasting history of this city is memorialized. And I appreciate you all coming out this evening to meet with everybody, and we're going to be available to sign books. Andrew, could you come over and take a picture so we can have a pose picture just before we all break up to do that?
Absolutely.
And,
Can I get your camera also?
Okay. Yeah. And then we'll be signing books if you like. All these gentlemen, of course, have pictures in the book as well. And
Yes. 1, 2, 3. Take one more here, make sure we got it. One, 2, 3. Frank, let me get your camera.
Frank's good. And then I'm also going to invite up.
All right, 1, 2. Nothing happening, Franklin.
Oh, is it turned on?
One, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2,